When I say everything was on the line during the 2019 NBA Finals, I mean everything. For the Toronto Raptors, this was their one shot. After years of frustration, disappointment, and playoff heartbreak, they went all in. They traded away DeMar DeRozan, the beloved face of their franchise, for Kawhi Leonard, a superstar with injury concerns and just 1 year left on his contract. Kawhi didn't even want to be in Toronto. But this gamble? It wasn't just bold. It was all or nothing. On the other side, you had the Golden State Warriors. The Dynasty. The Juggernaut. The team of the decade. They were 1 win away from making history, chasing a third straight title, their 4th in 5 years. Only a handful of teams have ever done that. This was their legacy-defining moment. But trouble was looming. Kevin Durant was in the final year of his deal. Rumors swirled. A loss in these finals, and the Dynasty might not just crack, it could completely collapse. Let's rewind to how we got here. The Warriors shocked the league back in 2015, a rising team with elite shooting and relentless energy. With Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, they were a breath of fresh air. That year, they won it all. And then, they got even better. In 2016, Steph became the first unanimous MVP. They went 73-9 and made it back to the finals. But then came the collapse, blowing a 3-1 lead to the Cavaliers. The redemption arc came fast. Just 15 days after that loss, Kevin Durant joined the Warriors, turning them into maybe the greatest team ever assembled. They blitzed through the 2017 playoffs with a 16-1 record and captured the title. Then they repeated in 2018. A dynasty was born. But 2019? That was different. Tension was boiling. Early in the season, Durant and Draymond clashed during a game, a shouting match that made headlines. Draymond reportedly told KD, "We don't need you. We won without you." And KD's reaction? "That's why I'm out." The chemistry was crumbling. Durant's looming free agency was a dark cloud over the team. Still, they powered through the season, winning 57 games and storming through the playoffs. They beat the Rockets, then swept Portland. They were back in the finals, one step away from cementing their legacy. But standing in their way? A team that had nothing to lose and everything to prove. For years, the Toronto Raptors were stuck in a loop. They were good, really good. Year after year, they put together strong regular seasons, finished as top seeds in the Eastern Conference, and looked like real contenders. But every spring, the same story played out. They'd run into LeBron James and get sent home. Swept in 2017. Crushed again in 2018. Toronto became a meme. LeBronto, they called it. The team had built a reputation, not as fighters, but as frauds. No matter how great the regular season was, they just couldn't get it done in the playoffs. But then, everything changed. In the summer of 2018, LeBron left the East for the Lakers. The Raptors suddenly saw their window crack open. But instead of playing it safe, they made the boldest move in franchise history. DeMar DeRozan, the heart and soul of the team, was shipped to San Antonio. In return, they got Kawhi Leonard, a Finals MVP, sure, but a complete mystery. He hadn't played in nearly a year due to injury and made it clear he had no desire to be in Toronto. It was the ultimate gamble. 1 year. No guarantees. All chips in. Surprisingly, the Kawhi era started strong. Despite his load management, the Raptors finished the season with 58 wins, second in the East. But it was in the playoffs where Kawhi showed why they traded for him. First round, handled. Then came the Philadelphia 76ers, a tough, young team led by Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. The series went the distance. And then, Game 7. Tie game. Seconds left. Kawhi takes the final shot from the corner. For bounces. And in. It was the first Game 7 buzzer beater in NBA history. That shot alone justified the trade. But Kawhi wasn't done. In the Eastern Conference Finals, the Raptors fell behind 0-2 against the Milwaukee Bucks and reigning MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's when Kawhi asked to guard Giannis. The whole series flipped. 4 straight wins later, Toronto was going to the NBA Finals for the first time in franchise history. They had home court advantage. The city was electric. Meanwhile, the Warriors entered the finals banged up. Kevin Durant was still out. Klay Thompson wasn't 100%. The dynasty was bruised, and the Raptors could smell blood. Game 1. Toronto came out swinging. Pascal Siakam had the game of his life, dropping 32 points on 14 of 17 shooting. Curry fought to keep the Warriors close, but Toronto was locked in. Raptors strike first. 1-0. Game 2, Golden State answered. They opened the third quarter with an 18-0 run, led by vintage ball movement and elite defense. But just when it looked like they had it locked up, disaster struck. Klay Thompson pulled his hamstring and left the game. Still, with seconds left and up 2, the ball found its way to Andre Iguodala. Ice in his veins. He hit the dagger 3 to tie the series 1-1. But the damage was done. Klay's injury? Worse than expected. He'd missed Game 3. KD was still sidelined. The Dynasty was cracking, and Toronto could sense it. By the time Game 3 tipped off, the Golden State Warriors were in deep trouble. No Kevin Durant. No Klay Thompson. The only star left standing was Stephen Curry, and what he did that night was nothing short of heroic. He dropped 47 points, the ninth highest total in NBA Finals history, while grabbing 8 rebounds and dishing out 7 assists. It was a masterclass in scoring under pressure. But even Steph's brilliance wasn't enough. The Raptors came in locked, loaded, and balanced. Kawhi Leonard was steady as ever with 30 points. But it was the role players who made the difference. Kyle Lowry, Danny Green, Marc Gasol, and especially Fred VanVleet, they all showed up. Toronto kept Golden State at arm's length all night, and when VanVleet hit a rainbow 3 in the final minute, Game 3 was sealed. Toronto took a 2-1 series lead. The Warriors looked exhausted. The Dynasty looked fragile. Then came Game 4, and the Warriors got some hope. Klay Thompson was back. The crowd at Oracle roared. The Splash Brothers were reunited, and they came out swinging. But none of that mattered, because Kawhi Leonard came in on a mission. In the first quarter, he scored 17 points, slicing through defenders, pulling up from deep, and controlling every possession. It felt like watching prime Michael Jordan. Then, in the third quarter, he did it again, another 17-point explosion. He hit a deep 3 to open the half, stole the ball from Draymond Green, and drilled another jumper in his face. The Raptors took control and never looked back. Toronto won again. 3-1 series lead. 1 win away from the title. Golden State's dynasty was officially on life support. But then they rolled out their final weapon. Kevin Durant was back. Game 5.
Do or die.
And KD looked unstoppable right away, splashing home 3 triples in the first quarter and scoring 11 points in just 11 minutes. The Warriors looked alive again. The impossible comeback was on the table. Then, silence. On a simple crossover move, Durant's right leg buckled. He went down, clutching his Achilles. The dream was over. Durant had torn his Achilles tendon, a devastating injury that would change the course of his career. Not only was the Warriors' dynasty in jeopardy, so was Durant's future in basketball. And yet, somehow Golden State kept playing. With 5 minutes left, they still led by 2. Then Kawhi Leonard did what he always does, took over. He scored 10 straight points, putting Toronto ahead. The arena was stunned. But then, it was splash time. Klay Thompson hit a triple. Steph Curry followed with another. Then Klay again. Just like that, Warriors by 3. It all came down to the final possession. Down by 1, Toronto had a chance to win the championship. The ball swung to Kyle Lowry in the corner. Wide open. Draymond Green tipped it. Game over. Warriors survive. The dynasty wasn't dead yet, but it was barely breathing. Game 6. Oracle Arena. The final game ever played in this legendary building. A night destined for history, but no one knew just how painful that history would be. The stakes were clear. Win or go home for the Warriors. Close it out or collapse for the Raptors. The crowd was fired up. Oracle was rocking like the old days. And right out of the gate, it was Kyle Lowry, the veteran heart of the Raptors, who silenced the noise. He scored the team's first 11 points, ending the first quarter with 15, playing like a man who had waited his entire career for this moment. But Klay Thompson had a response. He caught fire in the first half, dropping 18 points with his signature smooth stroke. The Warriors led by 3 at halftime. The dynasty still had a heartbeat. And then came the third quarter. Both teams started throwing haymakers. At the 8-minute mark, Kawhi Leonard hit a tough and 1. Warriors answered. Klay pulled up for a deep transition 3 to tie the game. Kawhi hit another and 1. Klay came back with another 3. 30 points. And we're still in the third quarter. It felt like the Splash Brothers might pull off the impossible again. But then, disaster struck again. On a fast break layup, Klay Thompson was fouled midair, landed awkwardly, and immediately grabbed his left knee. Agonizing pain. He had torn his ACL. For a moment, silence fell over the building. It felt like the soul of the dynasty had just been ripped out. But in one final act of defiance, Klay came back out of the tunnel just to shoot his free throws. With a torn ACL, he nailed both, then walked off for the last time in over 2 years. The crowd roared. Oracle's final warrior. Without Klay, without KD, Golden State was hanging by a thread. And Toronto? They didn't miss their chance this time. Fred VanVleet, the undrafted guard who had just become a father weeks earlier, stepped up like a champion. With 9 minutes left, he drilled a deep 3 to tie it at 91. Then another, right in Steph Curry's face. And then one more. 3 daggers in a matter of minutes. The Raptors went up 6. But Golden State wouldn't go quietly. Draymond hit a clutch 3. DeMarcus Cousins threw in a wild layup. They cut it to 1. The crowd was on its feet. With 30 seconds left, Pascal Siakam drove right at Draymond, slid around him, and laid it in. Toronto up by 3. Curry had the chance. 10 seconds left. The play was drawn up for him. He got free. The shot went up. A deep 3 to save the Dynasty. No good. The ball was fumbled. Danny Green grabbed it and threw it into the first row. Still a chance. With just seconds remaining, the Warriors had one last play. One last breath. They ran it for Steph again. He got the ball, rose up, and time expired. That was it. The Golden State Warriors dynasty ended on their home floor. Toronto exploded. The Raptors were NBA champions for the first time in franchise history. The crowd at Oracle, silent. The team that had dominated basketball for half a decade was broken. KD gone. Klay broken. Steph exhausted. Draymond defeated. And standing above the rubble, Kawhi Leonard, Finals MVP once again. Mission complete. A gamble turned into glory. A dynasty crumbled in real time. The 2019 NBA Finals didn't just crown a champion. They ended an era.